What if everything you have been working toward is not as far away as it feels right now? I mean that seriously, not as comfort, not as a gentle reassurance designed to make you feel better before you go back to the same patterns. I mean it as a factual challenge to the story you have been telling yourself, the story that says you are nowhere near, that the progress is not adding up, that the destination is some distant, unreachable thing that keeps moving further away the harder you try to reach it. That story is not just discouraging, it is almost certainly wrong. And the cost of believing it, the decisions you are making, the effort you are withholding, the moments of almost giving up, is a price you cannot afford to keep paying. Welcome to Motivation Daily. Today, I want to prove to you that you are closer than you think and show you exactly why the gap feels so much larger than it actually is. Here is something that almost nobody talks about when they talk about progress. Progress is deeply nonlinear. It does not arrive in steady, predictable, evenly spaced increments that match the effort you are putting in. It hides. It accumulates underground, invisible, building pressure beneath the surface while you stand above ground looking at what appears to be nothing and wondering whether anything is happening at all. And then, without warning, it breaks through all at once, in a way that looks sudden to everyone watching, but feels inevitable to the person who was doing the work in the dark. This is not poetry. This is how bamboo grows. A bamboo tree spends the first 5 years of its life building an underground root system so vast and so complex that you could stand above it every single day watching the ground and see absolutely nothing. 5 years of invisible growth, 5 years of work with zero visible return. And then in the sixth year, the bamboo grows 90 feet in 6 weeks. Not because something suddenly changed, because everything it needed had been building beneath the surface all along, waiting for the moment the foundation was strong enough to support the breakthrough. Your journey works exactly the same way. The skills you have been developing, the habits you have been building, the knowledge you have been accumulating, the character you have been forging in the fire of every hard day, none of it is wasted. All of it is root system. All of it is foundation. And the breakthrough you have been waiting for is not going to come because conditions changed. It is going to come because you finally built enough underneath to support it. Let me tell you about Sylvester Stallone. Before Rocky, before any of it, Stallone was so broke he sold his dog, his best friend, the thing he loved most in the world, for $50 outside a convenience store because he could not afford to feed them both. He had been rejected by every agent and studio in Hollywood. He was living in a bus station. He wrote the screenplay for Rocky in 3.5 days because a boxing match he watched lit something inside him that would not go quiet. He took that script to producers who loved it and offered him a life-changing sum of money for it, on the condition that he was not in the film. He said no. They offered more. He said no again. They kept raising the offer. He kept saying no, because he knew, with the kind of certainty that looks like insanity from the outside and feels like destiny from the inside, that he was not going to be the person who sold his dream the moment someone finally showed interest in it. They eventually agreed to let him star in it with a budget of $1 million. Rocky won the Academy Award for Best Picture. Stallone went back to that convenience store and bought his dog back for $3,000. At the moment Stallone was selling his dog, he was not nowhere. He was one screenplay away. He was one conversation from the right person away. He was closer than anyone standing outside his life could possibly have believed, including probably himself. Think about the scientist who spent 11 years researching a drug compound that consistently failed in trials, who was 2 weeks away from having her funding pulled when the data from the latest round finally showed the result she had been building toward for over a decade. 2 weeks from being done, 2 weeks from the world never knowing what she had been close to. She did not know she was 2 weeks away. Nobody ever knows, but she stayed anyway. Think about the person trying to get out of debt who has been throwing every spare dollar at the numbers for 2 years and feels like the mountain has not moved.
What they cannot see, what the exhaustion of the grind makes invisible, is that compound interest works both ways, that the reduction in principal they've been making is accelerating the pace of payoff in ways that are not yet visible in the total, but are already baked into the mathematics of what comes next. They are not stuck. They are in the phase just before acceleration. They are closer than the balance sheet currently shows. Here is why the gap always feels larger than it is. Your brain is wired to focus on what is missing rather than what has been built. It is a survival mechanism, ancient, automatic, and completely inappropriate for measuring the progress of a long-term goal. When you look at where you want to be and where you are, your brain immediately calculates and amplifies the distance. It does not give equal weight to how far you have come. It does not factor in the compounding that is happening beneath the surface. It sees the remaining gap and sounds an alarm. You are not there yet. You are running out of time. The effort is not working. And then it waits for you to respond, hoping you will either sprint into a panic or collapse into despair, because both of those responses mean you are no longer thinking clearly. And unclear thinking is the brain's best tool for keeping you safe by keeping you still. Do not let it. Do not let the distance-amplifying machinery of your own mind convince you that you are further away than you are. Look instead at what you have built. Look at where you were when you started versus where you are right now. Look at the skills you have, the knowledge you carry, the hard days you have already survived, every single one of which has made you more capable of the breakthrough that is coming. Because it is coming. Not as a guarantee of a specific outcome, but as the inevitable result of what happens when a human being keeps showing up, keeps building, keeps refusing to let the invisibility of the progress convince them that the progress is not real. You are closer than you think. The root system is deeper than you know. Keep building it. The breakthrough is closer than you can see from inside the grind. Do not stop now. Share this with someone who is deep in the grind and starting to doubt whether any of it is working. Subscribe to Motivation Daily. We show up every day to remind you that the work is adding up even when you cannot see it. Drop a comment and tell me, what is the thing you have been grinding at that you refuse to quit on? Tell me about it. Your persistence is proof of your proximity. Let's go.